Hey, it's Aaron here. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can start your very own online coaching business where people will pay you consistently for your knowledge. So what I've done here is I've broken down very complex matters into bite-sized and digestible pieces so that you can get on your way to having your very own online business that grows every month, makes money every month, and has happy clients every single month. So let's get started. So this is essentially a roadmap for you to build your online business block by block, okay? And it breaks it down into very easy to digest pieces. So what we'll do as we go along, we'll take off some of these sticky notes here and reveal what's behind them. So let's zoom in. This is you. You have all of this knowledge. So maybe your knowledge is about investing. Maybe it's cars. Maybe it's dancing. It could be woodworking. It could be fitness, any number of things, whatever you're knowledgeable in and whatever you're looking to sell. So I don't know much about dancing, but if let's say you were a professional dancer or you've danced for 10 odd years, you could without a doubt teach me something and I'd be willing to pay you if I wanted to learn about dancing. The same goes for woodworking, the same goes for fitness, the same goes for cars, and the same goes for investing. So let's assume here you know what you want to sell, you know what your skills are, what your knowledge is, and that's what you're moving forward with. First question is, how are you packaging your offer? So your offer is what you're offering to the audience. Okay. So let's take the example as somebody who dances. You're teaching people how to dance. Okay, that's fine. What are you teaching them? Is it a specific style of dancing or is it just dancing overall? Is it dancing to get fit? Is it dancing to become a professional dancer? So there's a few things you need to ask yourself there. The way we're going to package it, it could be done numerous ways. Okay. So one is coaching, meaning a program. Okay. So is it a month-long coaching program? Is it a 6-month long coaching program? Is it a year-long coaching program? You need to figure this out. That's a question you need to ask yourself. How long does it generally take for someone to get the result that they want? So if it's a long game, your coaching program will have to be a bit longer. So there's people in this space here that have programs that are 1, 2 years, 3 years. There's other people that have a 4-week program. Some people have a 6-week program. It all depends how long you think it will take person X to get closer to their goal. Or are you going to offer it as a consultation? So consultation might not be the best for someone who wants to learn how to dance, but you could offer a consultation on how a professional dancer could get more gigs or more work. That's a way that you could do it. But consultation, for example, in the investment niche and the money niche is huge. You can come in on an hour call or 2 hour Zoom call and you can review someone's finances and you can give them advice on where to distribute their capital. A consultation works perfectly for that niche. Same thing as fitness and bodybuilding or dieting. You can look at someone's body type, what they're like, and you can offer them a consultation. Works perfectly. Or will you be doing a challenge? So again, for the finance niche, for the fitness niche, works perfectly. You could have a 5-day challenge where you can take someone from not knowing something to knowing something and be able to take action with that new knowledge that they now have. So will you be offering a challenge? Will you be doing webinars or will you be doing events online or in person? So these are questions you need to ask yourself. How are you going to package your offer? Once we've understood that, what we're going to do, we are going to look at how are you now going to generate the leads for this offer. So if you've decided on coaching, brilliant. How are we going to get some leads? How can I get conversations going? How can I get people through the door buying from me? Firstly, we're going to look at organic marketing, which is what most people tend to generally start off with. Organic marketing, meaning posting on your Instagram, your TikToks, your YouTubes, Facebook, blogs. It's organic, right? You're putting content out there into the ether in the hope that you'll have some leads come back. So this is generally a slower lead generation process. but it does yield very good results. For example, YouTube videos take a while to embed and for them to get views, but once they're on there, it's evergreen. Somebody could find your content a year or two down the line, and you could get a sale, right? So that's the power of organic marketing. Paid marketing, on the other hand, is the fastest way, although it is expensive. You have to put up money, you have to give advertising budget to Facebook or YouTube or Google, and you can acquire customers that way. So that'll require a team of ad buyers, experts in ads, and you can generate leads like that. Or are you going to be doing networking? So I'll give you an example of this. Let's say you're somebody who sells property deals to investors. It might be that in your local area you have investors, you have investor meetups, and you can go around that way. Another way to do it is cold outreach. So this is what I currently do with my business. I cold email prospects in the hope that they respond and then gain their business that way. It's a lengthy process. It takes a while, but it does yield good results. Or is it referrals? Are you going to create a referral program where you can get referrals and you can pay people for these referrals? So, one, how are you packaging your offer? And two, how are you generating the leads for this offer? Okay, we'll move on to the third step. So now that we've got the offer packaged, we know how we're going to get the leads and we've started some lead generation. Okay, how are we fulfilling the service that you're offering? Right? Is it group calls? Are you going to get a group of maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, or 10 people and do a group call discussion? Or are you doing one on one calls? Do you have an online community such as school where people can network and you can provide value to everybody in the same time? Are you going to be offering an e-learning product such as courses? Are you doing in-person events? So look at what you're selling, the knowledge that you're selling, what suits that knowledge. Okay. If you're teaching woodworking, then maybe an in-person event works out because it's a hands-on trade. You need to understand. There's only so much you can do over a video call, but if you're teaching somebody how to trade or how to invest, maybe you can do a group call, you can do a one-on-one call. So your fulfillment changes dependent upon what you're offering. Okay. There are pros and cons to each one of these, which I'm going to cover in just a few minutes. So, what this is essentially doing here, this is the first block, what you're offering. This is the second, how are you generating the leads? And this is the third, how are you fulfilling? Each one of these stack on top of each other. Okay. Not only do they stack, but they're actually moving forward with progression. And that's what this is about. You're stacking one thing on top of another, and we're moving forward every single time, okay, until we have a complete stack. Then we're ready to launch something, right? We're ready to launch. And the key here is to keep getting feedback and improving on each step of the way. So, for example, if we go back over here, how are you packaging your offer? Coaching consultation. Let's say you launch with coaching, but it's not quite working how you want it to, or you're not quite satisfied with the results. You can test a webinar for, let's say, 2 months. You can test a webinar whilst doing coaching. Maybe a webinar works out better, but you won't know until you try it. So that's the key with feedback and improvement. Once you have a stable system that's working, you can test out something else and see if that works better. If that works better, we can put more efforts into that. Maybe we yield more results and it's less effort. It's a win-win. You have more time and you're getting more results. Brilliant. Keep that in mind. What we do want to always do down here is keep scalability in mind, even when you're starting out. Okay, you may at the moment have 0 clients, you may have 5 clients, but keep scalability at the back of your mind. So you kind of get what that means, scalability, keep it in mind, but what does it actually mean in practice? So I'm going to take the example of something that we all do and we all need to survive, which is cooking. So there's single cooking 1 meal at a time. So let's say you have 3 meals throughout the day. You're cooking a meal at a time, which is lengthy, time consuming. The dishes you're doing, it just takes up a lot of time, right? versus batch cooking. You can cook 3, 4, 5, 6 meals in one go. Of course, it might take you 3 times the time and the effort at the time, but that job is now done. You have the rest of that time to allocate to other things. That's what scalability is, okay? It gets you to the same result, but there's two different ways of doing it. And that's what you want to keep in mind is when you're scaling, for example, let's say you're doing one-on-one coaching with everybody and it's really effective. Let's say you grow to be $100,000 business a year and you want to grow to 1 million. You're going to have to dramatically change the way that you're doing your business. It's going to have to switch from one-on-one to something else, which is more scalable. Maybe you've got to switch to group calls, which aren't maybe as effective, but you're going to really have to work at it. A great example over here is this. This is the perfect example for scalability, okay? So let's say you start out doing a one-on-one call. The pros of a one-on-one call is it's personal. So it's personal to the person. You can really get to know the person on a first name basis, get to know their story, their life, and you can provide that feedback and advice to them. It's high quality. There's no one else on the call. There's no other disruptions. It's higher value and you can charge more for it, right? You can charge a lot higher for a one-on-one call. The cons to a one-on-one call is it's going to limit your time dramatically. You only have 24 hours in a day, so there's only so many calls that you can take throughout the day. And there's only one of you. There's not another person that's like you. It's also very inefficient and you're trading time for money. So for that hour, you're trading time for money. On the other hand, the group call also has its pros and cons. The pros of a group call is it's efficient. You can tackle 5 people at the same time. It frees up a lot of your time. So instead of doing 5 one-on-one 1 hour calls, you can just do one call, which is 1 hour with 5 people. So you've spent an hour instead of 5 hours. And it shows validation as well. So when you're on the call and you have other clients, it gives your clients a sense of, hey, there are other people working with this particular person to get a result. So, they must know what they're talking about and they must have a real business because in this space, there's a lot of coaches that aren't necessarily the real people that you think they are. They're selling something that they actually know nothing about. But that's another topic. The cons of a group call is it's just not personal. You can't work with that person one-on-one. There's 5 or 10 people on a call. You can't give them that attention. It sometimes leads to a non-resonating audience, meaning if there's 5 people on the call and we're trying to kind of get the same result, person one might speak for 10 minutes and what they're asking it doesn't resonate with you because you may be further in your journey or you may be behind on your journey. So some of the time on the call might be wasted in the client's eyes. So maybe you're listening to questions that people are asking that you don't really have a concern about, or you've already passed those questions. So there is that as well. It's also not perceived as very high value. A one-on-one call is high value. A group call, not as high, but again, there are pros to counter these. And what you charge for this isn't necessarily too high. You have to charge a lot lower. As an e-learning product, a course, the pros of that is it's highly efficient. So we see a lot of people in this space selling courses. Reason being is highly efficient, right? You can sell it once, it's evergreen, and you can sell it over and over and over again. It doesn't require your effort to keep fulfilling. You can sell it once, move on. There's an incredibly high profit margin as well. So let's say you're selling an e-learning product for $500. A lot of that $500 will be net profit because it's not a raw good, is it? You don't need raw material to keep fulfilling it. You build it once and you resell it and resell it. Whereas, let's take the example of a restaurant here. When a restaurant cooks a dish, they need to buy all the raw ingredients for the dish. They need to get the gas on, the electricity on. They need to pay their taxes. They need to pay everything else around in the company. and then they give that dish to the customer. They have to do the same thing over and over again. They have to keep making the dish. With the course, you make it once and you sell it infinite number of times. That is why it is high profit margin. The con, however, is it's not personal at all. You're just selling the course and leaving the person be, whether they go through the course and take action or whether they just leave it to the side and never visit it again. That's on them, right? Does that have a negative impact on your name? Maybe. Yes. No. That's up for debate. It depends if that person voices their opinion and how vocal they are. And also, the amount you can charge is generally not too high. It's generally low to medium. And also, another thing to bear in mind about an e-learning product is the perception towards courses has changed massively in the past 5 years. Okay, so people's perception is very different to what it used to be maybe 10 years ago. A course was like, wow, I've just purchased a course, let me go through. Now it's like, oh, you're not one of those people that purchases courses, are you? So there's a way to kind of present your courses, there's a way to present your group courses, there's a way to present your one-on-one course. Essentially here, these are the very fundamentals that you need to get started. And then as you kind of move along your journey here from left to right, you'll keep improving, you'll keep getting feedback, you'll keep scalability in mind. Before you know it, you'll have a lean online coaching machine that's bringing you profits every single month, every single year. It's not taking up all your time. You're not beginning to hate the business. You still have your love for it. You still have enough time around the business to do what you want with your loved ones and your free time. A key thing to remember is in this business, people sometimes grow, and they grow the business to a point where, okay, let's say it's doing $200,000 a year, but they begin to hate it because it consumes all of their time. Why? They haven't kept scalability in mind. Okay, they've got the rest of the elements down, but they just haven't kept scalability in mind. So this is the roadmap that you need to follow. Essentially, everything's there for you to get started. Go away, brainstorm all of this, put it together. Don't overcomplicate it. Do not get paralysis by analysis. Don't overanalyze. Launch all of this. Start reaching out. Start to fulfill your service, and then just learn as you go on. Okay, so what I tell people all the time is the steps are never revealed until you take the initial one. Okay, so you take the first one, the second one's revealed, you take the second step, the third one's revealed, and it carries on. Okay, so don't overthink it. Get started.